The Oklahoma Sooners make a big splash in the transfer portal, and Texas fans are hating it.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Today's episode is brought to you by Rougette. If you've been thinking about taking the next step, now's the time. Head to rougette.com/lockedoncollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time. Rougette, ready, feel present, feel confident. He's Jay Smith of Unfair Sports. I'm John Williams of Sooners Wire. And on today's show, we're going to talk about the overhaul of the Oklahoma Sooners wide receiver room. What has departed the Sooners in the transfer portal on Tuesday? But we'll start here because the Oklahoma Sooners got a big get, both literally and spiritually, physically, metaphorically, all of the bigs that you want to get. Parker Livingston is an Oklahoma Sooner coming across the Red River, helping to not just retool Oklahoma's wide receiver room, Jay, but give it a big facelift for 2026.
Yeah, he's a dynamic pickup for Oklahoma. He's not only young, but he's put up some production, in his young years. 29 catches for 516 yards, 6 touchdowns. He felt like one of those players that Arch Manning liked throwing to. Well, at the same time, that was Arch Manning's roommate there. And so it makes it even more awkward and weird or whatnot. But he was the third, leading receiver. He was fourth in catches behind their tight end, Jack Injuries, but he was third in yards. And he was up there in touchdowns for them, right? He was second in touchdowns with six outside of Ryan Wingo. I mean, that San Jose State game was the one where he basically took over for them. And so I know Texas fans are, they've been kind of complaining and had things to say about this and that, he was going to be wide receiver 4 for us and blah, blah, blah. Bro, I don't care what none of y'all say. Parker Livingston coming in here at 6'4", roughly 200 pounds as a redshirt freshman. Dude, you were hoping to get at least 2 more years out of him with that talent. And now it looks like he's coming across the Red River and is going to do that there instead.
Yeah, it's like clockwork that anytime somebody leaves Texas, all of a sudden they're not any good, right?
They suck.
They're terrible. They can't play. And especially coming to Oklahoma, everybody's trying to tell me how he's not a good player or he's not, quote unquote, elite. Like, let's be for real for a second. He had over 500 receiving yards as a redshirt freshman. He had 6 touchdown receptions, one of which came in the Ohio State game that actually were your only points in that game in week 1. This is a good player that is still progressing. Football is a developmental game. He's going to be a better player in 2026 than he was in 2025, just like he was a better player in 2025 than he was in 2024. That's how football works. As you get older, you get bigger, you get faster, stronger, you get more mentally capable to handle the game. This is a good win for Oklahoma in the portal. I know that Texas fans are coping with the idea that, okay, he wasn't going to play a lot. He wasn't going to be a significant part of the rotation. Miss me with all that mess. You want to have as many good players on your roster as you possibly can. And this is one of those guys that was a contributor for you, a significant contributor for you. He wasn't just a down roster guy that only saw playing time in the fourth quarter of games. No, he was a significant part of your offense.
He was.
And I understand you don't want to act like it's some big loss. And listen, you're Texas. You're going to find wide receivers. You will. You're not going to be concerned about that. I don't care. He's a good player, and Oklahoma just picked up a good player.
Yeah, exactly what it is. And I guess for Texas, the question is going to be, not really to talk too much about them because they don't deserve that much of our attention, but I do think it's hilarious. But, 2 of their top 3 receivers are gone now, right? Yeah. DeAndre Moore, you allegedly pushed him out. Parker Livingston basically said you pushed him out, right? Jack Injuries is gone to the NFL. You're starting basically from scratch now. That's not a very good place to be. You know, that nobody's comfortable with that, even for Oklahoma. So now for us, we're revamping our wide receiver room. You add Parker, you got Trell Harris, who was the top wide receiver in the ACC, or one of the tops there. He was the top receiver for Virginia, who got 11 wins with 11-3. So you're going out there and getting yourself some guys that are pretty good in the contributing side. Plus, he's younger. So like I said, you get 2 years as long as you do a good job of making sure he's taken care of with the ball as well as, with the NIL. He's going to be here for the next couple of years. And I expect that to get even better. Like you said, football's a developmental sport. He's going to continue to develop and get better. But then you add yourself another defender too, right? Kenny Ozowalu, the edge that came from UTSA. Now, I understand everybody's going to lose their minds about he's from UCTSA. How special could it be? Didn't Texas have an edge from UTSA that was a beast, right? Like that's something that actually happened there, and it's a very common thing. Trey Moore, he's a linebacker for Texas. He played at UTSA. He had like double-digit sacks before he got there, and he's been a really good contributor for them since he's gotten there. And so this is a young development player, another redshirt freshman, John, that makes us feel comfortable about what the future looks like, because you've only probably got one more year, maybe 2, of David Soden and Jaden Jackson. Because if the way that these NFL scouts are talking, Stoney could be gone, and so could Jaden Jackson after this coming season. So all our chips are in, but having players that are in the wings ready to play, it's a big deal. I love this pickup.
Yeah, this is another really, really good rotational piece for your defensive line. I've seen different people mentioned as a defensive tackle. He looks like he may have some edge size to him too. Like he's somebody that could be your Marvin Jones Jr. replacement, or in that realm, playing right behind PJ Adebawari, being that strong side defensive end. And if that's the case, then it allows you to play Taylor Wine, Danny Okoye as that weak side defensive end and let them just rush with their speed off that side of the ball. Again, it's a really nice defensive addition. Most of what Oklahoma's done in the portal so far has been on the offensive side of the ball, but the defensive additions will start to pick up steam here in the next little bit. They still have some big fish out there that they're chasing and waiting for those dominoes to fall. But Kenny Ozowalu is a really nice pickup. You see it all the time. Guys go from G5 schools, whether it's a Jared Verse from Buffalo to Florida State,
Braden Fisk.
And have these big breakouts at their next stop. It's coaches can't see everybody. The old adage of if you're good enough, they'll find you. It's not realistic because there are hundreds of thousands of high school football players out there, and guys fly under the radar all the time. But to go to a place like UTSA, have a little bit of production, and then catch the eyes of Jim Nagy and his scouting staff, you got something to you if that's the case. Yep. And he mentioned when he got on campus, he felt the culture right away. And that's what drew him to Oklahoma and what allowed him to feel comfortable about committing so quickly. One thing, Jay, before we get to the next segment, I just want to share with everybody what the starting wide receiver trio's returning production will be for Oklahoma. Isaiah Satania had 67 catches, 965 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Trell Harris, 59 receptions, 847 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Parker Livingston, 29 receptions, 516 yards, 6 touchdowns. If that's your starting wide receiver trio, that is a significant upgrade from what you went into the 2025 season with.
Is a significant upgrade to what you had this past season too, right? Like you were starting to get something out of Deion Burks, and so you were getting, of course, pretty excited about that. You're like, okay, Deion Burks is starting to gave us a little numbers at the end, but he never gave you the 800-yard season you were hoping for. You got 620 out of him. You get 500 from Jaren Kanak. I mean, you can even add those tight ends in there, right? You can add Hayden Henson. You can add Rocky Beers in there. I mean, that's another, 9-10 touchdowns right there that you're bringing in returning production that you would love to get actually on the field. So you're getting that massive number in production. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a big deal for Oklahoma going into next season. All you got to do is get everybody in there, get them healthy, and let's ball.
That's right. And Oklahoma, listen, they are also losing players in the portal. That's the reality every portal season. Let's talk about some of the names that entered into the portal, what's going on with that. And then we'll talk about what the wide receiver room is going to look like in 2026. And should we start to panic about some of the depth pieces? We'll do all that coming up here on Locked On Sooners.
College football playoffs is here, and FanDuel is giving all customers even more ways to get into the action every single game of the playoffs. Because right now, every college football playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost waiting for them in the app. Yep. Here's what I love about it. You get to use the profit boost to bet you already feel good about. Put it on those bets that you really are into. So you can ride your favorite team. You know, there's 4 teams to choose from. Go ahead and jump on the one that you feel like you're going to ride to. If you think that they're going to control that matchup, take them. Take a shot on the underdog. If you feel like, you feel a little froggy, some of us like underdogs, or build a parlay around the players and moments you think decide that game. Then you apply the profit boost and go after even bigger winnings. And when you win, FanDuel pays out instantly which is perfect for playoff football, because then you'll have one game left. So FanDuel is the best place to get into the action all playoff long. So visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boost every game day.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. And if you haven't already done it, go check out our new Everydayer Club. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer club. Find our show and join. It's $5 a month or $50 a year, and you get ad-free audio access across all of your favorite podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you like to listen to Locked On Sooners. You get it ad-free through the Everydayer Club. You can also get access to a members-only Discord channel server that allows you to just have more interaction with Jay and I, and have more interaction with everydayers across the Locked On network, and hosts as well from other shows. Again, $5 a month, $50 a year over at lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer. All right, Jay. Oklahoma is not immune to the transfer portal departures, especially as you make big acquisitions like a Trell Harris and Parker Livingston, and guys along the offensive line and tight end room. So the Sooners lost Ivan Carreon, Zion Kearney, and who's the other one I'm missing?
Zion Kearney, Ivan Carreon, Giovanni Gibson joins the fray. Yeah. So yeah, you're starting to see a little bit of an exodus going out of Oklahoma in the last, I guess you could say, few hours or whatnot. It's, the game's the game, right? So as you're starting to bring in more players, Trell's going to be a 1-year rental, guaranteed. Satania will be your 1-year rental as well. You bring in Parker, and that's a 2-year rental, right? That's a 2-year, portal guy that you're going to have for a bit. And some people feel threatened that their opportunity is going to be taken away. To me, it kind of sucks, because I was really hoping that we would be able to find a way to integrate the young players with this. I understand for a Giovanni Gibson, he only has 1 year left, and Trell and Parker Livingston is going to start most likely.
Yeah.
They're most likely going to get the bulk of the snaps because they're very much experienced, and they've shown that they can get the production. Won't be perfect. But for me, I was really hoping that we would find a way, and we'll talk about this more in depth in the next segment. But the getting something like Zion Kearney, who was one of our highest rated wide receivers in the Emmett Jones era, change is big there. So now we're at 23 outgoing transfers, and now I'm curious to see if that's it. Because I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't feel like that's it. I do sense that we'll probably get closer to 25 transfers at minimum. But the good thing is, though, as you mentioned, transfer portal giveth, it taketh away. Some of the players that we had, they've landed on their feet pretty well also.
Yeah, Kobe McKenzie lands with Northwestern. You saw Jacob Sexton committing to Oklahoma State.
Crazy.
So, yeah.
But in-state, that makes sense.
Man, I'm hoping that the dude has a healthy season. I just want him to have a healthy year and go and be the guy. If it's for Oklahoma State, by all means, go have a productive finish to your college career.
Yeah, I like Eric Morris, so I don't mind it for
Yeah.
Eric Morris. So no argument
And
for me either.
listen, I don't hate Oklahoma State. I really
Oh,
don't.
I
I
do.
mean, listen, they're a rival, so I dislike them. But I think it's better for the state of Oklahoma when Oklahoma State's actually good at football. So
Fair.
the fact that
Good
they've
mental
been,
health. Yeah, you know,
it
good
is.
mental
I
health
mean,
society. Yeah.
I live in out in eastern Oklahoma. There's a ton of Oklahoma State fans out here. And
I'm
it's
sorry.
just not even fun to talk football with them because they don't have any hope. But now they got a little bit of hope with we've devoted a little bit too much time to Texas and Oklahoma State on this show, and we apologize for that. But go check out Locked On Longhorns and Locked On Pokes for all of your other Red River and Bedlam needs. But yeah, you see like Javante Barnes lands at Kentucky. So a lot of these outgoing portal guys, they're getting opportunities at high level places. It's just the opportunities were dwindling at Oklahoma. Or Jim Nagy, now with a year to evaluate the roster, decides, hey, listen, there's just not a fit here anymore. And as much as there are reasons that are outside of Oklahoma's control in which players decide to portal, some of it is within Oklahoma's control in this day and age of college football. Like, players are getting cut.
Yeah.
I know nobody really wants to talk about that, but that's the reality of the situation. I mean, Parker Livingston felt like he got cut from Texas.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Out.
The game is the game, but Jim Nagy is making some hard choices for Oklahoma, and all in the hopes of making the roster as a whole better. And I think so far, through the first 5 days of the portal, I think we could say that we're better than what we were.
Oh, no, 100% agree. This is probably the best start in the portal era we've had since Brent Venables has been here, or just portal era has actually, quote unquote, existed, because we've been on a heater with a lot of highly talented players coming in that really we feel like truly can contribute immediately. Like Rocky Beers as well as Hayden Henson are a fantastic bridge to the younger tight ends that we're going to bring in. Plus, we'll probably go get one more younger tight end to add to the team to hopefully balance things out. But you've got something. Lloyd Avant's going to be a fantastic return guy. You make him out there to return. Heck, he may go into the game as a change of pace guy, third down back on passes, and cause problems out there automatically. And then you're bringing in some youth. I love the Dakota Fields pickup. That may actually hurt the Aaron Scott potential, the former Ohio State corner, because Dakota is young and he's probably going to take a lot of snaps at 6'2", roughly 200 pounds and stuff. So, yeah, I expect at least 2 more to go out, and then we can try to figure out what's next for this squad. But overall, man, you can tell that they do like their players, but this has been the best haul we've had, like I said, in this era, period.
Yeah, and there's still areas where they need to address. Linebacker is one of those. They're still waiting on a decision from Cole Sullivan, the Michigan linebacker. The guys over at Sooner Scoop have been really active in reporting this one, that Brent Venables went up to the Northeast and to Pittsburgh to visit him to make one last pitch. Still waiting on a decision there, and that's a big domino. If and when that one falls, it'll kind of help shape the way Oklahoma continues to attack linebacker. We're still waiting on a Cody Sigler decision, the Arkansas State defensive tackle, who's gotten a lot of national interest. They missed out on a defensive tackle target from Michigan State, ended up going to USC. He's going to be looking around wondering, are there any other defensive tackles that I get to play with? No, just me? Oh, okay. It's going to be the John Travolta meme where he's just looking around the room and can't find anybody.
Will Smith and Fresh Prince just walk into an empty room.
That's right.
We're moving out.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see them look at adding another edge potentially. The edge room is full. You could see them adding another safety. I think they still need some offensive line depth, even though we like the guys that they've got so far. We like the incoming guys, especially in Deacon Schmidt. You still need to have a little bit more depth because you're really young as it is. If you can find some guys that are willing to come in and maybe have some snaps and compete for a role, or just be willing to be a backup with that coaching trajectory, maybe some potential there, but I think there's still areas where Oklahoma can add. Remember, you lost 23 guys. So you got to find that many more guys to come back. And I think you're up to 9 at this point. in players added so far in the portal. And yeah, they're going to be heavy players. I haven't seen anything from Owen Long yet, and that's one that's been on Oklahoma's radar. Again, Cole Sullivan is the big linebacker domino. If you get him back, and then we're still waiting on decisions from like Kip Lewis, and we're waiting on the NCAA for Owen Heineke, and that could really define your linebacker 25, 26.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say, just don't even bet on Owen Heineke to show up, and it's not his fault. We don't trust the NCAA, and I think they're actually planning for that. I think they're the way that the aggressiveness we've seen them with Cole Sullivan on top of Owen Long that we've been hearing that, and I think they're looking at a few other linebackers as well. That their expectation is that we're not going to get lucky with Owen Heineke. It sucks. It's the NCAA, but if you get him, great cherry on top. That means you'll have a really deep rotation. But yeah, keep your eyes open on that. I expect some more defensive guys to land and some more offensive linemen later this week because we've actually got visits and stuff. And I think that'd be a great topic for tomorrow.
Yep. All right, let's discuss what's going on in Oklahoma's wide receiver room coming up next here on Locked On Sooners. Let's talk about something most men don't bring up, but they absolutely should. Stress from work, money, life. It doesn't just switch off at night. And when it shows up at the worst possible time, Rougette Ready is designed to help you take back control. Rougette Ready is a next generation prescription treatment created to support both the brain and the body so you can feel present, confident, and ready when the moment matters. Rougette Ready combines 3 clinically proven ingredients in 1 mint that dissolves under your tongue so it absorbs fast. You can connect with a board-certified doctor online and everything ships discreetly to your door. No awkward conversations in person, no weird packages showing up, no trips to the pharmacy. It all comes straight to you. You don't got to worry about any weird questions from your neighbors about any of that stuff. So if you've been thinking about taking the next step, now's the time. Head to Rougette.com/lockedoncollege. That's RUGIET.com/lockedoncollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time. Rougette Ready. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready. And again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So, Jay, as we've seen, Zion Kearney, Ivan Carreon, Giovanni Gibson enter the portal, there's definitely some concern about some of the future of Oklahoma's wide receiver room. I think most people's thoughts and attention then turns to Elijah Thomas, the Chakotay native, and Emmanuel Choice out of North Texas. 2 really good signees from the 2025 recruiting class that everybody's kind of hoping to hold on to so that we can see develop and then take the field down the road.
Yeah, so when you look at what's been going on lately, it feels like that 2024 class is basically all but cooked. So in that class was Zion Kearney, Ivan Carreon, KJ Daniels, as well as Zion Rajan. You had the walk-on, which is Jacob Jordan, and you're basically dwindled down to Zion Rajan and Jordan's the only ones left on there. And people are still anticipating that Zion Rajan's also going to hit the portal and look for more opportunities to play. But yeah, that one's cleared out, and it's a little bit of a concern. That they felt like they needed to go to the portal to get additional players. It feels like some players are being pushed out. It feels like they're completely revamping the entire room. I mean, heck, your portal dudes, like you still got J Mike there, and I mean Giovanni Gibson just got there now. He's bouncing. You don't J Mike's still around, but there's questions there, right? I mean, Satania is really your only portal guy that will be back and still be leading the room, but I'm not as worried as I was before. Like I mentioned before, y'all know my love for Zion Kearney. I think that he has amazing upside. I guess the staff itself does not agree with my assessment of the situation. But, John, when you look at this, right, you'll have, like you said, Elijah Thomas, who most likely now should be able to see some snaps, hopefully. Manny Choice, another big wide receiver, 6'4" wide receiver that you're hoping to get some snaps. He should be able to see something as well. Then you bring in the new guys in Jaden Pettit, another 6'4" guy that could start seeing some snaps also. You add in Jazeer Rogers, Spider-Man. He could probably see some. Daniel Odom. He's ready to go ahead and get some snaps as well. ZZ. He's coming in from a Owasso area. Maybe he's going to get some snaps. So my point is there's probably a good chance for a lot of the young players to get some more run. and actually play their actual recruits instead of only playing transfer guys. Because to me, it is worrisome if the only players that are really getting burned are transfer dudes. So next year, your main guy would be Parker on top of all your young guys.
Yeah, you've got to start developing for the losses of Isaiah Satania and Trell Harris. You've got to have answers in place. You can't go into the portal every year expecting to pull two guys that can immediately step into your starting lineup. You've got to have Elijah Thomas and you got to have Manny Choice or you got to have Jazir Rogers. You got to have some of these guys ready to step into roles in 2027. That's the way that this should work. Why it hasn't quite worked out, maybe it's the offensive coordinator changes from one year to the next and it's stunted development. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But this will be, for Elijah Thomas and Emmanuel Choice, they will be in the same system for 2 years in a row. And that should help their development. Zion Kearney, Ivan Carreon, they had to change, from they committed with Jeff Lebby as the offensive coordinator, came in, Seth Luttrell was the offensive coordinator, and then Ben Arbuckle became the offensive coordinator. So there were definitely philosophy changes along the way. And we know Jeff Lebby, he loves him some short, small, fast wide receivers. That's like years in the past. So now you have a new vision, a new direction with offense, and we're going to have some continuity on offense for the first time in a few years. And that's going to help everybody's development, but you've got to actually get these guys on the field and give them an opportunity to make mistakes, do some things, make some plays, put some good film out there, some teach tape out there, and grow. I mean, I get you got to know what you're doing to get on the field. That's definitely a part of it. They have a responsibility in there too. At the same time, some of it you have to just learn on the fly at times. And 2026, man, we got to have some of these guys ready to step into roles because listen, you got Parker Livingston. He's got experience. He's somebody that you can bank on giving you multiple years of production and helping at wide receiver, but he can't be the only guy. You've got to develop these guys. And that's on the coaching staff and that's on the players to take this as a challenge. And I think for your younger guys, whether it's the 2025 guys and Elijah Thomas and Manny Choice or the 2026 guys coming in, they can look at that 2024 group and be like, dang, okay, pressure's on. If I don't do my work and I don't do my job and take care of my business, that could be me next year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's going to be the key thing is what does Emmett Jones do with his recruits, and can he, like you said, can he really get them developed? Now we're going to have to wait an additional year. Actually, next season is probably the best year for his young players to really break out, especially when you're playing in the games, was that UTEP and, Illinois State-ish type games, because you got Michigan on the road. So that's another big P4 game you're going to play in, but you're going to need those, your quote unquote 2 cupcake games are games where you're really going to have to play those players. And in this era, you got to hope that you can get something out of them there to where you can be like, all right, later in the season, if we do need you, we can rely on you. And so I'm hoping they get to the point where they feel like they rely. It's the second year in this playbook for all of these players. I mean, I'm going to be honest, and it's going to sound really weird, but at the same time, just bear with me. I'm going to land this plane. The offense being solid, but not the greatest this past season may have been a small blessing in disguise for us because Ben Arbuckle ain't going nowhere for a couple more years, probably. Teams are probably going to wait before they jump on him. If we excelled and if we were still like in the playoffs now, we kind of excelled, there's a good chance you're going to lose Ben Arbuckle the moment that you lose because there were so many jobs open and they were looking for dynamic offensive guys. And so because of that, now they can continue to, progress up. Next season, after this season, you'll have Bo Bentley battling with Jet New as well as with Neubauer for the starting spot. And if Bo goes out there and he's ready to play and he balls out and he takes over, that's going to who's running your offense. You're going to still want to have Ben Arbuckle there. You're not going to want to have a change in everything in that spot also. So to me, these receivers now, year 2, this is your opportunity to shine. Got to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and they always talk about the year 2 jump, right? You
Mm-hmm.
go from, hey, I'm brand new to college football. I'm just trying to figure things out, trying to figure out this whole new life and schedule and training regimens and nutritional regimens and all that, to now I'm in my second year. I've got a better understanding of it all, and they're going to have a better chance to develop because it's not new. It's not a whole bunch of brand new information being thrown at them, along with taking classes and trying to get their diet right and schedule right, and creating structure and discipline for themselves that allows them to thrive. They've got more practice at it. So this offseason should be a big one for these guys to be able to develop, and they can show the way for these younger guys as well. So listen, I still feel good about the wide receiver room. I feel good about the future of the wide receiver room. That group that they brought in the 2026 class, man, they have a chance to be something special, but got to build them up, got to grow them. It doesn't happen organically. We've got to do it as a program to get these guys to be the best versions of themselves by the time that they're ready to take the field. So excited for what Oklahoma's done so far in the transfer portal. Who's been your favorite portal addition so far, Jay?
Man, that's a tough one because I am I'm really big on just big players that can come in and contribute immediately. I think Trell Harris may be that dude for me. I love the Rocky Bears pickup. I love the Hayden Hansen because it's a position of need, but I'm ready to see what Trell does. Like, he was fun to watch at Virginia. I watched a lot of his tape, especially watching Chandler Morris basically force feed him the ball as much as possible. I need Mateer to do something similar with him and Parker, as well as with Satania, and toss in some of that to the young guys. But I think he's going to be the one that jumps out to the most. Who's the one on the agenda that you, on the portal entries or signees that you like the most?
Yeah, I mean, it's Parker Livingston, mostly because it's made Texas fans mad, and I'm here for that. So, no, I was going to say Trell Harris as well, just because, like, you get an all ACC performer, you get a guy that has the ability to take over a football game and add him to an Isaiah Satania. To me, it makes John Mateer better. It makes the offense better. But then I think you got to go with, Emmanuel Harris as well, the Arkansas offensive tackle edition, because that really fortifies your offensive line, and it gives Bill Bedenbaugh a lot of options and flexibility. Now, hopefully we go into week 1 next year and we're like, all right, these are our dudes. These are our 5 guys, and we have answers, and we're not asking this question about the offensive line going into the Michigan game or getting into SEC play. So far, like, I like all of the additions. I think every one of these guys, except for maybe Dakota Fields, I think he's still got maybe a ways to go before he's right in the cornerback rotation. But every one of these guys is in the 2 deep somewhere. Lloyd Avant may not be in the 2 deep at running back, but I think he would be as like your 3rd down back. He's definitely your kickoff returner in my mind. And, you've got a role for him, but everybody else is going to play significant snaps for this team. And the thing I like about it the most, Jay, is they didn't sit there and look at the offense and say, hey, it was good enough, or John Mateer was injured for half the season, that's why we weren't good enough. They said, no, we're going to go upgrade a bunch of spots, and they've done just that.
Yeah, they said we're going to improve. We're going to grow week over week, 1% better every day, and we're going to go in the portal and try to upgrade where we can and get production and put that production to work. Like, they ain't paying these dudes to be just sitting around. They're going to make them play. And I'm just hoping that the young guys see that and say, all right, let me beat them in practice so I can get on the field, and then they can go out there and they can go put up some. We need the young players to put up numbers too. Period.
Yep, it's time. It's now the NFL reality is here. Like, if you're not producing, there's somebody right behind you ready to take your spot.
Every time.
And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in and being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms. and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, for more Oklahoma Sooners and college football coverage. You can follow me at John 9 Williams and read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. If you're interested in getting ad-free audio access, go check out the Everydayer Club at LockedOnPodcast.com/Everydayer Club. And you can get an invite to a members-only channel to just discuss more ball with Jay and I and more people across the Locked On network and in the Everydayer Club as well. But until next time, where we'll talk more portal madness and so much happening across Oklahoma Sooners and college football landscape. He's Jay Smith, who's going to be on the Amazon Kickoff Show this week, talking college football playoff with Gary Patterson and Jesse Hawley. So go check that out on Amazon Prime. Your boy hosting the show this week. So yeah, proud of you, man. That's awesome.
Appreciate
it. So go check that out. He's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you next time. Boomer
Sooner.